Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything from the Davian Royal House Guards, and I'm coming to you with a update, like a unit update. This is for everyone, and I wanted to kind of give you a heads up on what was discussed during the officers' meeting, and also what I've been thinking about doing with the unit and with the 1st Royal Airspace Squadron also. So take a listen to this, and I'm going to try to go over it super quick. Because I have a lot to cover. Okay, now this was all discussed on Friday night's meeting with the leadership. Okay, all Lance leaders and above were invited. Not all Lance leaders showed up. You know, there's real life happens. First thing was discussed was the paint schemes. Okay, we are allowing the unit as a whole, every individual in the unit, to choose what paint pattern they want to choose for their mech. You can pick mountain line, you can pick fractal, you can pick whatever you want to pick. If you want to play and stay in the default, you can do that. But the colors are still going to be titanium white, cobalt blue, or manganese blue, and then your reds are going to be the hot rod red, the phoenix red, or the cadmium red. Okay, these are the main colors that you will use at all times while you're in our unit. Basically, you're going to use the white and blue as your primaries. You can alternate those back and forth, blue and white or white and blue, however you want to do it. Whatever you think looks best, that's fine. And then the red always is in the 3rd slot. Some mechs only have 1 or 2 slots, and that's okay. If you only have 1 or 2 slots, make sure it's the white and blue. And red is only available for a 3rd slot, and it's always in the 3rd slot. So I don't want to see mechs running around predominantly red. Okay. Okay, and we'll talk about that at the end. But you can pick anything. You can pick the Tarleton pattern, you can pick the snake pattern, the flame pattern, whatever you want, but the first 2 have got to be the blue and the white, and the 3rd can be the red. Is that understandable? Yeah, I think it is. I think it's pretty basic, plain and simple. Okay, no exceptions. I even have to do this. Parasite has to do this. Any of your leadership has to do this. So if you see them out of uniform, you point it out to them that they are out of uniform, okay? You know, give them a gentle nudge in the right direction. Hey, you forgot. Like when I bought the Phoenix pack, right, and I got all the mechs, they came as OD green or the Phoenix color, and so I had to go through there and adjust the paint schemes. If I got in a hurry and launched and picked a mech, it might not be in the paint scheme because I haven't painted them all just yet. I'm gradually painting them as I go and I work on their loadouts. Okay, so just give people gentle nudges if they're not in the right paint scheme so that after that match they can change it and they can fix it. Next thing we talked about was awards. This is not in order, okay? We talked about awards. Mordale's got this concept of being able to issue certain awards at a high level, at a mid level, and at a lower level that every unit, every individual can get. He even has like Lance awards that Lances can earn month by month, and if they have to maintain certain prerequisites to keep that in their on their page, and every Lance or every individual actually will have a picture in our gallery. I'm going to set up, I think I should be able to set up a new gallery with just the awards. And then I'm going to set up a gallery for just awards and then give Mordale access to that so that he can update the awards as they become available to individuals. He's done a really good job coming up with they look like actual medals you would wear on your uniform. He's even come up with like the ribbon, the salad dressing, you know, he's got all that worked out now. Expect to see that in the coming future, like real soon, because he's got almost all that worked out. So if you're a Lance leader or a company commander or a battalion commander and you've got ideas for who should receive what awards, please send them to Mordale, send them to Kulane, send them to myself, and we'll look at them and we'll see you know, what's going on. Kulane's going to like kind of compile all that, and then he'll make sure that he gets that to Mordale, and at a higher level he'll compile it, ask me what I think about it, and then issue those awards. Okay, so give it to Kulane first so that he can kind of filter it out, and then he's going to disseminate that amongst who needs to receive those awards. Okay, or who needs to receive the awarded recommendation so that we can get those awards out. Backing up to the paint schemes, we actually discussed, and this was a long discussion on what, at least 45 minutes out of our 1 hour meeting. We discussed whether or not it was important to have our 3-color paint scheme, red, white, and blue, on our mechs while we are in a 12-man drop or during community warfare, because our color scheme is primarily used for recruiting purposes. Basically, it lets the publics know that we are a unit and that we are working together as a team, and if they are looking for a team, they might ask us, hey, are you guys a team? And then we could say, yeah, we are, come on in, join us. Okay, so do we really need that in a 12-man? No, because the other team is already they're already a unit, or they're already working together, so they're not going to want to switch over to our team, and that's not something we want to do anyway. So we could utilize certain camouflage patterns on certain planets, and we could utilize certain other colors like yellows and greens and blacks and browns and stuff like that. But we've decided to stay in the red, white, and blue even in the 12-man drops, because a number of lance leaders have decided or recommended or made strong suggestions that their lances utilize the red, white, and blue for targeting purposes, like they know not to shoot a mech in red, white, and blue, because when we're in those 12-man drops, sometimes a mech might power off and you can't get a lock on him, but if you look at him and he's not in red, white, and blue, then he's free game, blast him. So also it helps coordinate amongst themselves with who to follow as a lance is your wingman. So they will utilize certain lances will utilize certain patterns to identify themselves as a different lance. So one lance might have the fractal pattern. So if you see another mech in the fractal pattern, you'll know, okay, that's my wingman, I need to go after him. It'll just help visually speed up your mental process, and I agree with that. So and really the red, white, and blue is not it's not so what am I trying to say? Most of the time, you shoot at a mech at a long distance, all you're seeing is a black blur image moving around, and you're not really looking at the red, white, and blue. You're not even getting a lock usually, but friendlies, you're always going to see the blue dot over their head, and that's why, for me, I'm looking at blue dots. I'm not looking at the red, white, and blue. But others are using it, so I'm not going to penalize them by saying you have to switch to a red, a brown, gray, and green color scheme when we're in the Crimson Valley or the Crimson Strait or something like that. I'm not going to do that. Always are we going to be in the red, white, and blue. We're never going to not be in red, white, and blue, okay, or white, blue, and red, however you want to look at it. But the pattern is up to you or your lance leader, depending. Okay, so ask him if you guys have a restriction on patterns, and you guys should get together and vote on a pattern or something like that, because some patterns cost actual money, and don't want to restrict you guys by forcing you guys into a certain pattern. So discuss that amongst your lance leader. If you think that's a cool idea to get into a pattern, great, do it. Okay. Kulain is my adjutant. Okay, he also works with Paraset. He works with our training department. He works with the battalion commanders. So basically, he is the unit go-to guy. If you have anything that you need done, ask him first, and then he will either direct you to the right place to go, or he might actually be the right person to go to. Now, when we drop in community warfare, that might be a year from now, it might be 2 years from now, who knows, however long it takes them to get community warfare out. But when they get community warfare out, his role is going to change a little bit. He's going to work more towards logistics and coordinating where units are on the strategic map, and being able to get the right lances and the right companies on the right planets and the right places. And he's probably going to need a couple of people under him at that point that will need to communicate with other units as our liaisons to be able. So Kulain, if you're watching this, you might want to now start fostering some allegiances with other Davian allied units, so that when we go into community warfare, we can communicate more easily with them and find out what worlds they are going after and what worlds they are attacking, so that we don't duplicate our efforts and we actually communicate. Like if they decide, hey, we're going to make this big push over here and they need our assistance, they can ask for it. Or let's say we want to attack this certain planet and we already know that nobody else is attacking it, we can go in and take that, that mech factory or something. So please reach out to all the different, find out who they all are, step one, and then find out if you can get into some communications with all of them, and then establish some kind of chain of communications with them, because I plan to utilize you as a liaison between other units. Okay, so that's Kulane. And then we got training. Okay, we got training. We got the BCT. That's the basic combat training, or basic boot camp. Okay, boot camp training. Everyone has to go through that. Okay, whether you're, whenever you start this unit, you have to go through it. Right now, we have a 3-month period to go through 5 classes. Okay, how hard is it to go through 5 classes? You can probably do it in 5 days. Okay, well, I've suggested adding a 6th class to this training, and that would be the shoot and twist technique. Okay, we have popping, we have the code of conduct, we have tacking, and we also have wingman tactics, but I wanted to add another one. I wanted to add the shoot and twist technique, because that'll actually double your lifespan, especially in the assault mix. Okay, so we want to add that, and then possibly headshots. Okay, headshots meaning, well, actually the headshots I wanted to add to the APT. APT is the advanced pilot training, and advanced pilot training is totally voluntary, but during your, now let's talk into lances. I wanted to talk about lances and recruiting. The lances need to put up a post, whether you've got 4 guys in your lance or not. I want you to put a post under my lance descriptions. Okay, for the lance, I want every lance out there, should be quite a few of them, should have a lance description. There should be no way to post under those descriptions. I don't want people replying to those descriptions, and I don't want you to, not even you as a poster, I don't want you to change it by posting. I want you to actually edit the post. So there's only going to be 1 post per lance on that list, and that way everyone has a chance to kind of visually see what each of those lances represent. And I know a lot of you lance leaders are working on that already because you were at the meeting and you learned this. Kulane is enjoying helping people get those set up. Lance descriptions. Okay, now when you drop into a match, I want everybody, I don't care who you are, you could be the lowest cadet, and if you are 4 cadets and you're all teamed up together and you're dropping in a match, I want you to drop the post, a post of some kind that says something like this. It says, the Davian Royal House Guards are recruiting. Please check us out on our website, davianroyals.engine.com. And you could even reword that or something, but that's the general gist of it, okay? Okay, APT, and lances and APT. Advanced pilot training is actually performed by the lance leaders and possibly company commanders. When you go into your lance practices, I want you to pick one of the APTs from the list, which needs to be generated. We need to have that list available for you, and kind of a description of what to teach during those classes. And then teach one of those during your lance practices. Also teach, or I should say, give a refresher of the BCTs, okay? The basic course. And it doesn't have to be anything detailed. You could just say, hey, we want to refresh the tacking today, okay? Remember, this is how we do tacking, okay? Everybody make sure you do it. And this is the APT, blah, blah, blah. This is the APT. Maybe we're doing headshots today. I want you guys to work on headshots. Okay, now let's go ahead and drop into the training grounds. Let's practice a few headshots, and then let's go do some drops a couple of times. And I only want that to happen at a minimum twice a month. I don't want you to be doing lance practices every single day, because the problem with that is your lance will start to assume that they have to attend these every single day, and I don't want that to happen. I want you to only have once a week or once every other week a mandatory practice, and I want everyone in your lance to be able to attend these. Okay, so you got to talk to your lance members, you got to find out what days they can attend, schedule your practices, and P.S. put your lance practices on the event calendar. It's not only for you and your lance mates to remember when the practices are, but it also lets your company commander know. It also lets your battalion commanders know, and it lets me and Paraset know, because maybe we want to drop in and hear what you have to say. Maybe we want to know how your Lance practices are going or who's attending. So we want to do so it's really to help not just your team, because they probably know when your Lance practices are. It's to let everyone else know when your Lance practices are. Okay, so you got your Lance practices. Don't do it more than once a week. Okay, don't have them more than once a week. If you do have practices more than once a week, don't call them Lance practices and don't make them mandatory. Okay, just say we're gonna have, well, you can call them Lance practice, but we're gonna have Lance practice. But if somebody doesn't show up, don't penalize them for not showing up. You know what I'm saying? Okay, now I've got two more things that I wanted to say, and these two were not actually addressed during the training, because there were some people that couldn't stay long for the training, so we cut the training, the leadership meeting short, and then we went and did a couple of matches together. Okay, but there was two additional topics that I had. Totally slipped my mind. I could have said them in just this many minutes, but one was, and I hate to say this, and this is something that I don't ever like bringing up, okay, but it's something we have to do in the unit. It's just a requirement. Discipline in the unit, okay? How do we perform, or how do we conduct discipline in the unit? And I've come up with Paraset actually helped me come up with a great idea for this, and I'll share this with you, okay? In Engine, they have given us a tool called the warning system. And you can actually click on a warning button and issue a warning to any member of your website. Okay, so we can institute those. Now we can get in and change the title of these warnings, and we can actually change the effect of the warnings. Like if we want to remove them from the ability to post forum posts, we can do that. We want to remove a tag off of them, like they're a captain, we want to take that away from them. We can do that. We can limit their ability to comment in certain modules. There's a bunch of other options that we can give, and we can assign points to them. Okay, now let's say just one as an example. Okay, I'm not going to tell you what they all are. This is something that I and the leadership have to discuss, and Paraset and I are working diligently on getting this taken care of. We are going to institute this probably within the next day or two. I just want you to know it is coming down the chain. And if you are a perfect model citizen, you do not have to worry about this. This is only those that I feel need, and even a slight mess up, you're not going to get a point for it. You're only going to get points for if you continuously, habitually mess up. Like, as an example, paint. Okay, I observed someone, not going to use his name, but I observed someone in white and red as his primary colors, okay, in his paint. No big deal, it's just wrong, right? So I told him, hey dude, you know, your red is primary, cannot be primaries, it has to be tertiary. Okay, so I told him this. That's not going to get him a point. Okay, but let's say tonight I log in and I see him in the same mechs, and they all still have red as their primary. Guess what? That's a point. Okay? I'm going to go over to the system, I'm going to hit click warn, out of uniform, and it's going to give them a point. Okay? Great. So, and then it's going to pop up on his website screen, pow. Next time he tries logging into the website, it's not going to let him. It's going to have a window saying, boom, you have a point. Acknowledge this. And this is why. And this is what you can do to get rid of it, and how long it's going to last, and the reasoning behind it, and what you can do correct, and blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. And he'll accept, and then he goes back into doing his things, okay? Now, I'm going to set a certain number of points before any action happens, okay? Like possibly 3 points. Something might happen. Like a demotion, okay? This is my mind, this is my thinking, but it's not set in stone yet. 3 points, a demotion. So you used to be a senior lieutenant. Well, guess what? Now you're a lieutenant, and you're now no longer a lance leader. Okay, so someone else in that lance is going to have to step up and become the lance leader. Okay, great. Okay, maybe 6 points. 6 points, you're out of the unit. You know, you're just an F up, and I'm going to get rid of you. Now, the only time you're ever going to get 6 points is if you do some heinous stuff. Okay, you're messing up on your paint, you're not going to get kicked out of the unit unless it's just habitual, constantly, over and over and over, right? So okay, that's just an example. There are other things. So not abiding by the code, not being respectful to your senior leaders. What are some of the other ones? Being disrespectful to your opponent. Using foul language on the communications. Just generally the code. Read the code and abide by it, and you'll probably be okay. Okay, read the unit expectations. If you fall within those, you're going to be okay. I've got an itchy nose if you haven't noticed. Okay. All right, so that's the warning system, right? And that's going to get instituted soon. And then what was the last thing? Oh yeah, totally. The first Aerospace Squadron. Okay, First Royal Aerospace Squadron. Okay, this is just a little heads up for you Star Citizens out there. I don't know if you know this, but I have 2 engine websites. I have the Davion Royal House Guards, and I have this other engine website to be named later. But I have it, right? I could actually change it. I can change the URL and everything to be specifically for the First Royal Aerospace Squadron. So we would actually have a specific, and I don't really need to do that because Star Citizen, not PGI, what am I saying? CIG, the Cloud Imperium Games, they're actually going to give me us a section of their website for our guild, our clan, our squadron, and I want to use it there. But in the meantime, because that's going to be a year and a half away probably before we get to see that. In the meantime, I want to have our own website with our own forums, with our own gallery, and basically everything you see on the Davion Royal House Guards website. We can have something very similar to the First Squadron, right? Well, I just want to get a head start on it and get it done now, and then we'll keep it, and we might not even need to use their forum. We probably will. We'll probably use that and we'll have it, and we'll have links that link us to that, and back and forth. We'll have links that link back and forth. Same thing with the Davion Royal House Guards. We'll link us across because even though it's the First Royal Aerospace Squadron, it's and we're playing Star Citizen. It's really not Mech Warrior related, and I want to make sure that everything on our Mech Warrior site is Mech Warrior related, and then everything on that Star Citizen site is Star Citizen related, even though we might have some friendly groups that link back and forth, and we might share the same team speak, if Sir Ludwig allows us, which I think he will. I think he's already a member of Star Citizen. I mean, I'm not even sure, but so that's my plan. I'm gonna defunct that other website because I think I've got like 3 members of that website. It wasn't a very popular concept. Basically, it's a local gaming group, local miniature role-playing games, and since we don't, since I never use that site for anything, it's like I just got it. It's just sitting off to the side, waiting for me to make it a Star Citizen website. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a few days and convert that over. I'm going to have to tell those 2 guys that are members of this website, 3 guys that are members of the website, I'm going to have to say, hey guys, this website is closing and it's changing into something else. So you guys can just get the hell out. No, I'm kidding. So what that means is, if you are a Star Citizen, keep your eyes open to the forums, because you might see where I'm going to ask you to go over to this other website and register on that website, and then that'll also help me with recruiting. I can take the whole Star Citizen thing off of our Royal House Guards recruiting, because I've got like, are you a Star Citizen and have you pledged and all that junk. I can take that off of our Davion Royal House Guards application, because they don't need that, and then I can make an application for the Aerospace Squadron that doesn't say anything about Mech Warrior. So they can be separate websites, which I think our group really needs that. I don't think our Star Citizen guys, and you know what, if you're an engine and you've subscribed to both of them, you'll actually receive pop-ups, like little messages and mails saying that that these forums have been modified, or as long as you're a member of both forums. Okay, so you won't miss any posts or anything. Let me think. Anything else? No, I think that's it. I think I covered everything, and that was basically an update of what we talked about during the leadership meeting. So just to keep the whole unit up to speed on what's going on, and that's it. And I appreciate everybody in the unit. And remember, guys, have fun.